Well, hey there, this is Danny Sunshine Bauer, and today I'm talking about how to create social media images for your podcast to promote via Twitter or Instagram. And I'm going to show you the exact system that I use in just a second. But first, I want to give you a little bit of background in terms of describing the system and why I take this approach. You see, systems are super important to me, and a lot of times I don't want to reinvent the wheel, which is of utmost importance. I mean, you've heard this phrase before, right? Work smarter, not harder. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. And that's why this system is so important. When I use Canva, the biggest thing I'm going to show you in the tutorial is to create a folder called templates. And I want you to recreate, right, using the same image over and over. So I have about 7 templates that I use, 4 for Twitter, 3 for Instagram, and I just copy and reproduce, and the only thing that I change is the actual content that goes in those images, and that makes it a super effective system. All right, so what I want to show you here is my system for creating images for Twitter and for Instagram to promote my podcast. And what you see here, this is my podcast company, No Sweat Media, and I'm actually doing the social media for my podcast, like my specific podcast that I own and produce, called The Better Leaders, Better Schools. So I haven't done images for Stephanie Frank 146, which comes out May 23rd. It's a pretty cool process, and I'll do a deeper video later in terms of my whole system on how to set this up, because it's pretty, it works for me. It is automated. There's work that I have to do. I work with a team. I have an audio engineer and somebody who creates my blog and distributes the show for me. But this is something that's in my bucket that I need to take care of. And so part of that is creating the social media images. So I've already clicked this link, which is here, which is the show notes. Okay, I use Evernote. I used to. Now I'm in Google Docs. But I recorded this show months ago, so this is still using Evernote. And another thing I want to show is that I have the 5 times that I'm going to post. I used to post 8 times and repeat that for the whole week up until the next show. But Twitter changed some rules, and I'm trying to have a less spammy and more human approach. And the interesting thing is my downloads have continued to increase. So I thought I had to post all the time on Twitter just to get the word of the podcast out there, and I found that not to be true, so I don't have to do that anymore. So I just post 5 times, 11, 12, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. So the top tool that I use is called Canva, and I think where I got my times back here, the 11, 12, 4, 5, and 8, this was using some data that I read on Buffer blog or somewhere, right? That they did a bunch of research and they said, here's when a lot of people are online for Twitter. So it was less in the morning, it was midday, and then after the work day had been ending, or in late evening. So those are the times I picked. And I'm just rocking it for now. It's good. So anyways, getting back to how do I create the images. So I tell my person, because she creates the actual blog post, she'll put the URL. I've already put my guest's handle here for Twitter, and these are 2 hashtags I want to use. Education, and that stands for Better Leaders, Better Schools, BLBS. And so then I need to create the content, the copy. So I've already written my show notes, and so I'm just going to look at my bullet points and see what seems interesting. So give me a second to think about that, then we'll be right back, and I will show you how I filled out all of the Twitter posts copy. Cool, so I have written the copy here, as you can see, and I pulled this from my show notes. And the thing I want to point out, like elevator strategy, right? This I chose because elevator I think is going to be an interesting image. When we learn expectations, we're not born with them. So I'll look for a picture of a cute kid. That's going to generate some clicks. Creating safety for students, so we can have cute students. The one thing that matters most, and how to internalize a growth mindset. I'm just going to use my guest logo for her business. But for 2 of these tweets, I want to create 3 original images, and then 2 of them, I create an image that can be shared, which basically just announced the podcast episode. So amazing elevator strategy. I will go to Canva, and what I'd click is this BLBS, Better Leaders, Better Schools templates, which opens this one. And I've named all my templates, okay? So for this one, I'm going to do make a copy because I have my template. I'm gonna rename it, and that's 11 a.m. For SEO reasons, I'm gonna use my guest's name. And then I'm gonna click to edit. So I know this is episode 146 with Stephanie Frank. An amazing elevator strategy. Pull that down a bit, maybe this a bit down. And then I'm gonna find a picture of an elevator. So Canva has a lot of great pictures, and I can look here. And then the other great place to look is a website called unsplash.com, and I'll link that up in the description of this video. They might have better pictures, to be honest. Some of them are the same, as you can see. So there's that one. Cool, so I found a really nice elevator picture, and it'll take a second to upload. And while that's uploading, then I'll just drag and drop here. And there you go. So it's named, it's optimized for SEO because of my guest name. And that's everything. I already have it. It's a template, so the colors are branded. It's perfect, exactly like I want. And I download. Let me show you one more picture real quick. So I'm back in my templates, and I'm gonna remove that one I just made to keep my template folder nice and clean. So that one's gone. I've already downloaded it. And so I'm gonna make the generic one that I'm gonna use over and over. Oops, let me make a copy first. This is gonna be for 5 p.m. plus 8 p.m. And I write it this way for my virtual assistant, so she knows where to put it in terms of where to post. And we're good to go. And then we're gonna edit. And the title of her show is Micro Movement and Micro Progress. This is episode 146. Stephanie Frank. And I'll type in micro and just see what comes up. Oh, actually, this was the one I want to use her logo for. So I'm going to upload that. Sweet. And I like that a lot. And I have the logo for Apple Podcasts. I have my logo. This looks awesome. And then download. So that's 2 ways of how I create the Twitter and everything else. I guess I'll show you the other template, but I won't create it for you just for speed's sake. And so like I said, I'll clean this up. That doesn't need to be in the template. But here's one, which is a multiple picture template that I use, and then there's a quote template that I use as well, where I just use a picture, there's my logo, and I pick a quote from the podcast. I do need to pick and make a couple Instagram pictures, so how about I do that right now? I'm gonna see what comes up with micro. No, let's do tiny instead. That's ugly. Let's see. That might work. I'm gonna go to Unsplash and see what tiny brings up. Yeah, frog, a little frog, I love it. Resize that, make it a little smaller. Actually gonna copy that, pull it over here. Call it episode 146. Stephanie Frank. Give that a different color. So keeping it all in line with the brand, right? And then get this little frog in there. Yeah, super cute. That's way better. So that's how I make an Instagram, and then I would just make one more. So that's real quick on how I actually make my images for Twitter and Instagram for promoting the show. Hey, so in this video, I just showed you how to create social media images to promote your podcast on Twitter and Instagram using Canva. I hope you found it extremely useful. And if you did, there's a few ways you can help me out. Number one, you can share this post. Number two, if you don't subscribe yet, please subscribe to my channel. Well, my goal is to bring you consistent content on motivation, on podcasting, on school leadership, on small businesses. And if you find that content valuable, click subscribe. So share, subscribe, leave a comment below. What is the main way that you promote your podcast, your business, or your brand right now? And finally, if you got a lot of value, give me a thumbs up on this YouTube. I hope you have a great day. This is Dane Sunshine Bauer. Bye-bye for now.